Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Takeover Tuesdays. I'm your host, Jessica Springs. I hope everyone is doing well this morning out there. I don't know where you're at, but where I'm at, it's a sunny Tuesday. So I'm happy about that. Cold, but sunny. Before I introduce our special guest for this morning, I would like to take a moment to tell you about the show in case this is your first time tuning in. Takeover Tuesdays is a platform where small business owners get to share their story, get to share their challenges and their successes, and just how they got to where they're at. And of course, they also get to share their services and products so that they can spread it to the community and hopefully the community supports. It's all about connecting community and supporting small business owners. So let's get started. Without further ado, let me bring in our special guest. Good morning, Pamela.
Good morning, Jessica.
How are you
I'm
today?
doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. It's always a pleasure to meet somebody new. This is Pamela Richard, and we met through a mutual friend connected us. So, Brand getting to know each other a little bit, had a conversation yesterday. So, I'm excited to learn more about you as we have this conversation.
Thank you.
So, let's dive right in. Why don't you give us an introduction about yourself and just tell us a little bit about your background and your story?
Cool. As I mentioned to you yesterday, I'm a Denver native. So I grew up here in Denver, but I spent probably from the time I was like 6 to 16, my summers in Louisiana. So although I say I was Denver raised, but I was Louisiana born. I Louisiana loved. So I grew up here in Denver. Went to college, everything here in Denver. I'm a mom. I have all those titles: a mom, a daughter, all those things. And started my business. About 3 years ago, I was laid off from my job. Actually, I was fired from a job. I wasn't laid off. I was fired from a job, and it wasn't a bad thing. The only thing was I wish I had been the one to let them go. Like you have a bad relationship, you want to let them go first, they let you go. So it's kind of like that. But nevertheless, when your life changes, even though it may be a good thing at that moment, you don't always see it as a good thing. And that was when I got introduced to Netflix, and I was binge watching the show, The Great Britain Baking Show. And I was in my feelings, like I said. I was missing my grandmother, my mom, all those women who I would normally go to for support and encouragement when I was in my feelings. They weren't here. So I was watching that show, and they were talking about food that they had baked that they grew up with that had special meaning for them. And as I was thinking about it, it was always tea cakes. Everyone in the South, at least in Louisiana, makes tea cakes. Everyone has tea cakes. They're at everyone's house. You get them like almost for everything. And even when we would drive, like back and forth from Denver to Simmsport, Louisiana, my grandmother would always have a shoebox full of tea cakes, fried chicken, bread, all that. But there was always tea cakes. So I started thinking about, just making them and trying them out and seeing people would like them. And people did like them. And so I decided I was going to set a goal of I was selling them at the time in dozens. And I wanted to make 30 dozen, and I wanted to sell them. And if I could sell them, then I was going to start a business. And I ended up selling 40 dozen. And I have gone from there. Tea cakes are my claim to fame, but I make other Southern desserts. I made 3 different versions of pies. I made 5 different versions of tea cakes. And then I have what it's called a sweet box. And the sweet box has 6 desserts in there, 5 of which are made by me, and 1 is always made by another female guest baker. So I always try to support other women in their baking endeavors, such as myself. But I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. I have never been happier. I've never worked harder. I've never had less sleep, but I'm enjoying it. It's been a good ride. It's definitely. I believe my ancestors are looking out for me, and I believe that God is watching over me in this business. Because while it's been hard, it hasn't been so hard that it's not working. So I know that I'm being looked on. I know there's divine intervention in this business.
Yeah, I have so many comments and questions. So before I get to tell everyone that because there might be some folks out there that don't know what Southern tea cakes are. So can you share what they are?
Tea cakes are like I set up to make a combination of like a cookie, a biscuit, and a scone. They're not like as dry as a cookie. They're not as tender as a biscuit. They're kind of like in the middle. And in Louisiana, they only had like what I call my traditional flavor, which is just a basic sugar butter kind of thing. I've taken it a little step further using my grandmother's recipe, and I have 5 flavors currently. So I have traditional, which is most people are used to the traditional. I have candy yam, banana foster, lemon curd, and I'm missing one. Oh, banana foster, lemon curd. Oh, hazelnut chocolate. And I'm working on creating a chai tea cake in honor of our vice president. I want to have a chai tea cake.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I'm working on that now.
Yes. Ooh, and you were speaking my language with the banana foster and the did you say sweet the yam or
Candy yams? Yep, I make candy yam tea cake. So I make all my candy yams from scratch. I make all the banana foster sauce from everything is made homemade, made from scratch, which is something I really like that I don't everything is done from scratch. Everything that I make is and I touch everything in some shape, form, or fashion.
so can you share how that started? Like I'm assuming it started in your kitchen. Where is it now? Tell us about that journey when you were starting to get the volume of numbers.
Well, the first thing I did was I think Denver is a really good place to start a business. There's a wealth of support, information, all those things out there. So the first thing I did, I looked at how to start a business, what it would be like at home. And in Denver, we have this is in Colorado too. We have what we call a cottage industry, where you can make things out of your home. But if you do that, you only can sell them in certain places out of your home. So initially, I was in the cottage industry where I could sell things, but I only could sell them certain things to certain people. I couldn't do wholesale. I went to this program through Emily Griffith, and like a 5-week program. And at the end of the program, you were able to pitch your idea, and you could receive funding. Well, I completed that program. I pitched my idea, and I received some funding. And with that funding, I went ahead and got my license through the state. That way I could get out of my house. And when you get a license, you have to have a commercial kitchen. So I cook out of a commercial kitchen. I don't have a storefront, but you can purchase my items online at www.misspeabodys.com. I'm also at Tea Lee's Tea House, which is located at 611 22nd Street in Fayetteville. So you can buy them there. Prior to COVID, I was at every festival there was in town. And then you also can there's another little agency. She calls it the Black Box, and you can find them on Instagram. And my tea cakes are in her Black Box. So, like I said, you can buy them from me online, or you can go to Tea Lee's. Tea Lee's is now selling my tea cakes and my pies. And I didn't mention this. My business name was my grandmother's nickname for me, Miss Peabody's, because I've been wearing glasses like forever. And I don't know if you remember this show, Sherman and Mr. Peabody.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the name came from. So it really is about like family and legacy with this business.
Yes, I think that's important because you and I chatted a little bit yesterday, but we were talking about how that just your passion is something it has to be internal. It's not the actual job, the physical job. So I when you were sharing a little bit about your story, I connected that with you talking about your grandma and the passion that came from creating.
You know, I think it's really important that, you know, I think people should try, you know, being a business owner or entrepreneur. I think that people have so many creative ideas and so many things that they can do, but I think that it kind of scares people because you think it has to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to kind of like start. And I remember when I first started, when I won that money, I wanted to buy a KitchenAid mixer because like that is like the creme of mixers is a KitchenAid stand mixer. And I wanted one so bad. And I actually had it in my budget. But when I looked at how much the mixer cost and what I could do with the $800, I ended up getting a $99 mixer that I called Black Betty, and I wore her out. She recently broke, so I had to get another one. But I finally got a KitchenAid mixer after 2 years. It took me that long to get one. So you don't have to have everything like perfect. I've always had a website, but I never was taking orders until about 3 months ago. So even though I had a website, it was more informational than it was transactional. But now you can order online. So yeah, everything hasn't always, it just takes a little time. But I would encourage anyone that wants to start a business to start it. Just start it, be committed to it, and just go for it, because you can do it on little to no money. You grow into it. Like I said, a KitchenAid mixer after 2 years, and I wanted one really badly. And even though I bought one, I still use my other one now because I've gotten used to it and I know how it works. But I do have a KitchenAid mixer now.
And how are you going back to a new Betty, or you gonna stay? You do both?
Well, Black Betty currently is on workers' comp. She kind of got hurt. Um, the new one that I have is comparable to the KitchenAid, and I call her Miss Betty because she's also Black as well. My KitchenAid is like a sky blue. I haven't even opened the box yet because I'm used to what I'm already using, but I just wanted to have one, I think. No, I'm good. I'm good with what I have. We've worked out pretty well. She's been a good employee. Everything tends to work well. I can make what I need to make in it. So I'm not. I'll stay what I have. But it's just that point. Like, you don't have to have that top of the line, to be in business, or that brand new lawnmower, those types of things. People think that you have to have things perfectly, and you don't.
I love that you're pointing that out, because I'll admit, I know when I first started out, you're very self-conscious of all of those things, or at least I was. And you want to make sure that, you have, like you said, the high-end equipment or whatever it is, marketing. But as long as you're starting, you can build to that. And I think we judge ourselves, at least I do. I think we judge ourselves a lot in the beginning. When I started the entrepreneurism, you're always picking apart your stuff, and you just have to get to a point. I got to a point where I could finally let that go, but that took a while.
It does. I mean, I remember, I grew up in a generation where being a business owner, everything you had to have money, you had to have a storefront, you had to have all these things, and I think that prohibits people from wanting to try, but you don't have to have all those things. If you're doing it and you're constantly building and growing, you will get all those things. Those things will come to you. I've had my first initial logo has been, it's still the same, but it's been changed. I've also learned in being a business owner to get out of my own way, because we have an idea what we want our business to look like or to be like. And then someone comes in and says, oh, I think you should do X, Y, and Z. You're like, wait a minute, what? I'm not doing that kind of thing. And I remember I have a color scheme, and my color scheme is gold, because I think gold is rich, and gold reminds me of Louisiana. I have blue. Navy blue is my favorite color. It's my mom's favorite color. And then I have like red. And red is because it's my son's favorite color. So all of those colors mean something to me. And so in my logo and on all of my material, I had everything in gold. Well, the gold didn't look good against the white. So someone made a comment about that to me. I didn't like that, because I had put a lot of time and energy into getting this the way that I wanted it to be. But once I looked at it, I realized it would be better in red or blue. And so we changed it. So that was one of the biggest lessons that I learned, like, get out of your own way. So now when I have to make decisions about my business and I feel myself getting pushback, I ask myself, is this about you, or is this about your business? And if it's about me, then it has no place in the business. I make sure that every decision that I make is about the business, because I can get in my own way. I don't want things changed. I want to do it this way. I like it. And it doesn't always correlate to what's best for the business. And so that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, to get out of my own way in pursuing this whole business endeavor.
I think that's an excellent point, because to build on that, we get attached. I know I do with some of my business stuff, but like you said, you have to remove that personal piece. And I think it's beautiful that you were willing to do that, because it is sentimental. A lot of things, that's very common for business owners to attach to, their family and their upbringing, whatever they bring in their logos, their name. But as you mentioned, sometimes that's not the best way to go. There's other colors or other themes or other words, and that can make a difference. So that's an excellent point.
Oh yeah, I've also learned too, you have to be as healthy as you can, and I don't just mean like physically healthy. You have to be healthy mentally and emotionally in this whole entrepreneurial journey, because that also can get in your way if you're not just emotionally and mentally healthy.
Yeah.
Those ideas and things can come back to haunt you. So I had to work really hard on making sure that I got myself together, making sure that I could do this. I wanted to do this, that I was willing to make the compromises and the sacrifices to do this. And I don't think people realize, and I'm sure you do,
Mhm.
how difficult and how challenging it is to run a business. You know, especially if you're a solopreneur or you relying like myself on family and friends. I learned a lot about myself, how to delegate, how to manage, how to do a lot of things that I didn't do before. I had a case where my niece was helping me bake one day, and I said, go ahead and bake. I don't know, 20. She comes over and she has everything baked. I'm like, why'd you do that? Oh, well, I just was having a good time. I'm like, no, you don't have a good time. Like, no, you did what I asked you to do because now I got to figure out how we're going to sell these. You know, I got to figure this out. So no, you don't get to do what you want. You have to do what I ask you to do. And I need to know that going forward, you can do what I ask you to do. And we laugh about that now, but that was like really like, oh no, like trying to delegate and let go, and people don't do it the way that you want it done. It's like, oh, I got to grab it back. But I've learned to delegate more. I've learned that I have to explain and really like explain things clearly when you're using other people, because most things are in my head and I'm assuming they know because they want to help, and they don't know. They don't always know how I want things done. So now I'm working on having a procedures manual so that people can come behind me and they know. Getting things out of my head and onto paper. So just learning how to just trust and learning how to delegate has been very, very, very challenging to delegate, because it's like your babies. You don't want somebody coming in and not taking care of your baby, but you got to teach the babysitter how to handle your baby. And
Yeah.
it's
That excellent point, because I think what you said is key. It's the training, and by you preparing the manuals and such, that's basically training. And when you train your employees or interns, it makes a world of difference in
mhm.
how the tasks are performed and the outcome.
It makes. I mean, I plan on using these next. Well, I'm on what? We're in 80 days now. I have 60, 70 days, whatever. The first quarter to really get all my processes and things together, because I want to get to the point eventually where I'm not the only baker, or I'm not the head baker. I want to segue into other things, other ways of other product lines. Like I also have where I have a roll and bake pie where I provide the pie mix and I provide the dough. I provide the pie pan, and then you roll it out and you mix. I call it Miss Peabody's roll and bake. So I want to be able to have like more things on my repertoire. I want to add different things, and I can't do some of those things if I'm the only one always baking. I want to expand into other markets. I can't do it if I'm the only one constantly baking. So I've got to get those things in place in order to see the business grow, in order to see the business thrive. I've got to let go of things and other people do it. So I'm looking at using this first quarter of this year to really get processes together, really get just everything tightened up so that by second quarter, I can do more of the things that need to happen in order to make the business grow and thrive.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. And I see Anthony's joined us. Good morning, Anthony. He says creating efficiencies. And that is exactly what you're creating. So, yes, nice work
Yeah.
on that.
It is so funny. One of the things I had to learn this weekend, I was hanging out with a friend and I realized I hadn't reserved the kitchen. I had a big order that was due on Monday, and I hadn't reserved the kitchen. And so when I went to go reserve the kitchen, the time that I wanted was gone. So it just threw me totally off, because the people that were going to help me don't like to work late at night, which I don't mind. It ended up working out because it was a holiday on Monday. But he's absolutely right. I'm learning more and more of how to manage my time, how to really utilize my creating efficiencies, how to just manage my time better. Because it's not just me. And it really can be very stressful when you don't manage your time, when you don't create efficiencies. It definitely creates a lot of stress and probably a lot of undue, unnecessary stress. So I'm working on that, Mr. Howard. I'm working on getting that tighter, better, because I don't like that panicky stress mode that I go into, like, oh my God, I gotta get the kitchen at this time. Now I gotta go in at this time and I wasn't ready and all of those things. So definitely.
Exactly. Well, gosh, we're coming to the end, but we got a little more ways to go. But I want to make sure that we get everything in. So I'm going to switch
Okay.
gears a little bit here and go into what have you done since COVID uh, that looks is have procedures changed? What are you doing for customers to ensure their safety?
Well, one of the things that I did was I made my website transactional, so you can now place orders online. That was really a big deal. I also incorporated. I do deliver. I have delivery, and we of course wear a mask. We put stuff try to say 6 feet away. Call ahead. Hey, I'm around the corner. It's going to be here. No hugging, touching, none of that type of thing goes on. Which I'm a hugger. I'm a partially Southern girl, so I definitely believe in hugging and loving. Um, and then also when they come to pick them up, because they also can pick them up at my kitchen, try to keep the 6 feet distance, have stuff ready, have stuff like they can just grab it and kind of like just go with it. We make sure that we have hand sanitizer in our cars, washing our hands. My hands are better now, but they look like, oh my God, because I was wiping them off with the disinfectant wipes in the car every time I got in. They were so dry. They're much better now, but really keeping everybody safe, including I won't have a business if I'm not safe. I'm the baker, so I can't afford to get sick myself or afford to get anybody else sick. And I wouldn't want that attached to my business. So I definitely follow like all CDC regulations, all the regulations of the state, and just try my very best to just stay as safe as possible, just because that's just the world that we're living in now. And I want to be safe. COVID is very tricky, and we don't know how it's going to impact anybody. How it impacts me will be different the way that it impacts you. And I just don't want that smoke. How about that? I just don't want it.
I get it. Yeah.
I don't want it.
Absolutely. And I can't, secondary, I do have to go back to the hand. I'm not a baker, but I wash and sanitize my hands all the time anyways. And now it's gotten worse. And oh my gosh, it doesn't matter how much lotion I put on. It doesn't get better.
It is. Yeah. Like I said, my hands were so dry because I was washing them and all the time, like at the kitchen, when I got home, when I come from the house and from the car, I'm washing my hands. I'm washing my hands constantly. And so I've used a multitude of different products to help keep them, not so dry, wearing gloves, things like that. But you're right. I mean, that's one of the ways that you can't stay safe is to have, because our hands touch everything. So I really work on trying to make sure that my hands stay clean. And I'll take the roughness over dryness.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can you share is there something that I have not brought up that you really want to share and express? Because I want to make sure we cover everything about your business that you feel is important to share.
I think the one thing that I would like people to know, I definitely believe in girl power. I definitely want to see other women that look like me that maybe they don't want to do what I'm doing, but if they do, I'm definitely, I do believe in giving a hand, helping, advising. I just think it's so important for women, which, Black women are the fastest population of entrepreneurs growing in this country. So I definitely just want to see women just get their due and really like just see how big they could, like how shiny they could be, you know. I have so much fun running this business. I have so much fun seeing what I'm made of. I have so much, I get to create, I get to make decisions, I get to say no, I get to say yes, you know, and there's a lot of power in that, a lot of validation in that. And I would just, I'm very big on making sure other women are receiving that. Like with the sweet box, I always have a guest baker, I always have a female guest baker. I probably will, I'm running out of bakers though, women, so I might have to add some men. But overall, like that is just my way of giving back. Like, girl, you make me 20 brownies for these boxes. I need you to do this. How can I help you? Get you a stand mixer. That's one of my big, get you a stand mixer. Quit using that old hand mixer. How much does it cost you to make these things? So trying to impart what I've learned onto other women. My uncle says you give away all your knowledge for free. You're always sharing information. You should sell that information. I'm like, it's someone helped me. I remember telling someone like, make sure that you add the square fee to your price or add it into your taxes. What do you mean? I'm like, why are you going to absorb the square fee? And my son taught me that, like, Mom, people will pay, so just making sure that I'm encouraging other women, business owners, other people of color, like, do it. Whatever it is, do it. And in whatever way that I can help you, even if it's not a food-based business, I have a lot of knowledge about things. Call me up, hit me up, because do it. It is so important to do it.
Well, and the crossover that you mentioned, we don't have to be in the same businesses to support and help each other. Because as you just mentioned, I mean, entrepreneurship has a lot of commonalities, just behind how you run a business, the accounting and the marketing and the PR and all of that can go across all of the industries.
Yeah, and I believe in abundance. So even though I work with other bakers, they don't bake what I bake. I don't bake what they bake. They're not me. I'm not them. So I don't have a problem helping someone that, even if it's in this, because I believe in abundance. Like, there is so much out there in the world and universe for all of us. So I don't worry about like competition, because if another woman makes it, then that shows that I can make it. If she's thriving, that shows that I can thrive. Like that's my role model right there. I want to be like her.
I hear you. I do the same thing, and I'm a believer in that. And to me, nobody can do it like you can. Even
exactly.
Yeah, we've all got our lane, even if it's a product.
We have our own story, our own journey, and what is for me is for me, and what is for you is for you.
I love it. Well, Pamela, you mentioned your website. I will put that in the comments. And that's the best way to order, is ordering online.
Yeah, order online, or if you can't order online, and please, if you can, go to Tea Lee's Tea House and purchase there. That's another Black-owned business. I don't know if you guys know about Tea Lee's, but it was owned by Miss Risa and her husband, Mr. Freeman. And Mr. Freeman used to own the original Human Bookstore back in the day. If you might have lived here and knew about Human Bookstore. And it's just a really, really cool place. Thank you. It's just a really cool place. And so if you can, things are open up now. You can go to Tea Lee's, you can get it to go, you can sit outside. But of course, you can always order from me online. But if you can, go support Tea Lee's, because that's also supporting me.
Yes, I and noted. I will put it in the comments at the end of the show. And I'll admit, I have not had a box yet, because we just met, but definitely I'm putting in my order this week.
Yeah, girl, go ahead.
Yeah. Definitely got to try, especially the caramelized and the banana Foster. Sounds amazing.
They're really good.
Yeah, I can't wait to try them and enjoy. And speaking my language on that. Well, Pamela, it has been a true pleasure to have you on. And I know that you and I are definitely going to stay connected. I look forward to chatting with you some more offline. And just as you said, supporting each other as women and business owners. And, every time that I meet another business owner, like you said, I give away something.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I appreciate you having this platform for people to be able to come and talk about their business. It's a way of helping us get our name out, our word out. And I just appreciate the opportunity. And thank you for having this platform. That says a lot, that you want to share with other women or other individuals that are running businesses.
Yes, that's what it's all about. Because I say, when one wins, we all win.
Girl, that's the truth.
That's really true. So, well, thank you so much. Take care this week, and we will be in touch. And I look forward to buying Miss Peabody's tea cakes.
Thank you so much again. Have a good day. Okay.
All right. Until next time, this is Takeover Tuesdays. See you next week.